Hey all, this is Newbie5 or Zebwen, and I've managed to get my hands on an iPad because I wanted to test it against my Advent Vega and I wanted to see what the differences were. I was looking at getting an iPad originally when I was looking at getting a tablet, but I really like Android, so I went with the Vega instead. The Advent have always said that the Vega is not supposed to be directly compared to the iPad. It's not supposed to be a direct competitor, it's more of an internet tablet, whereas the iPad is more of a multimedia or singing or dancing arrangement, but obviously that's not the case. You can do pretty much everything with the Vega that you can with the iPad and probably more. But I wanted to compare speed and style and how they each deal with certain situations. So the first thing we're going to do is power them on, which is going to be really difficult for me to hold the camera as well as push the buttons. So I'm going to try and prop this up. I'm not going to cheat in any of these tests because it's pointless. I don't want to prove that the Vega is just as good as the iPad or anything like that. I'm genuinely interested to find out how they stack up against each other. So I'm going to turn them both on now. 3, 2, 1. So they're both powering on, hopefully. So this is more to prove that I haven't got a ton of apps loaded into memory, just waiting to launch them up quickly. So these will both be booted from cold, and then we can start having a play and see how they behave after they've been turned on. Cool, so the iPad's on. The Vega's still thinking about booting up. Let's just put my pin into the iPad. Okay, and it's on. That's pretty quick compared to the Vega. It's still booting up. There we go, and it's on. Unlock that. This isn't the standard home screen that comes with the Vega, this is vintage Vega. There we go, so that's working, and the iPad is working. Okay, so the iPad definitely boots up faster. Not that means bugger all because I very rarely turn my Vega off, but still. So the next thing we're going to do is launch the web browser. I wish I had some kind of stand for this camera, but so web browser here on the Vega. We've got Safari here. There we go. On the iPad, I use Mirror browser on the Vega and just a stock Safari browser on the iPad. Now let's see if I can push these at both at the same time. No, I can't push either of them at all. I'm just going to tap them both separately then. So, Safari and Mirror. Loaded up. Mirror's already loaded. Safari's having a think. That's loaded the last page I was at. So, these are both connected to my Wi-Fi, which is just a normal Netgear wireless router. I've not done anything weird to it to make it work better with one or the other. So we're going to try going to a website. I'm going to go to Madako. Okay, I've got a favourite there for that, so I'm going to hit Go on the iPad and just hit my favourite there on the Vega. Vega's up, iPad's up. Still kind of thinking about it. Not sure what it's doing. I think it's finished, but still thinks it's loading. Not really sure what it's loading. Okay, so there's been loads and loads of comparisons and people saying that Android is faster than iOS, or iOS is faster than Android. In my experience, and I haven't been using the iPad all that long, the Vega is faster, but not just a little bit faster, it's actually quite a lot faster. But that's not always the case, it depends on the website and depends what the content is. So we're just going to choose the first post, mouse cursor gone. I don't think I've been to this post on either device yet. So again, you're probably going to have to take my word for this, pushing them both at the same time because I can't really angle the camera. I'm going to tap them both right now. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, I missed on the Vega. Okay, that was shit. Let's try this again. I'm going to tap them separately, fuck it. Right, so, mouse cursor gone. Can't see very well on that, so I'm going to tap that on the iPad, and I'm now going to tap it on the Vega as well. Vega's up. iPad is thinking about it, hasn't done anything yet. Vega is done, ready to read. I've seen this a few times with loads of different websites on the Wi-Fi that I've got at home and the Wi-Fi that I've got at work. I don't really know what's going on. It's not the Wi-Fi router, because I've got two different routers. I've got one here and one at work. I'm not 100% sure why it's doing this on the iPad, but it doesn't have any problems on the Vega. I can carry on. It's not that my internet's had some kind of net fart or anything. This is still working fine. For some reason this just stops and thinks about it. If I click a different link on the iPad, so let's just pick something else, it's just frozen. It's not really doing anything at all. There we go. Oh, it's kicked into life. I just loaded up one of the posts I just smacked. Let's go back to the main Madako page. Let's see if we can load something else. It's worth noting that the pinch to zoom on the iPad is really, really slick and really smooth. On the Vega, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel quite as slick. It's not clunky, it just doesn't feel quite as quick. So, same again, we're going to pick another post. I'm going to choose it on the iPad first, and then I'm going to tap it on the Vega. So, just a Madako custom ROM post for the Vega, the main one. Tap that on there and there, right? So, we've loaded on the Vega completely, still thinking about it on the iPad. There we go, it's loading a couple of the pictures, and it's finished. Now that's quicker on the Vega by a million miles, but that's Madako, and people are going to complain that this is a Android-based website. So even though it's just a forum, so we're going to try going to bbc.co.uk on here and on here. There we go. I'm going to try and tap them both at the same time. And go. Whoa. Okay, so we're going. Kind of loaded here, completely loaded here. Still thinking about it. There we go. The last bit of content has just finished loading on the iPad. The Vega was done quite a long time before that. We're going to click a different link. We're going to click one of the news articles. See if I can stack these on top of each other so that I can click them both at the same time. So I'm going to click on this Libya's Gaddafi given ultimatum article on both devices at the same time. So, oh, did I miss that on the Vega? I think I did. There we go, I just clicked on the Vega. Okay, so without a stand, this is actually really frickin' difficult. One thing you'll notice on the iPad, got a nice little picture, Mr. Obama there. It's not doing anything, it's just a picture. Up here, that's Flash content. Loads of people have banged on about this, loads and loads, but obviously Android has got Flash and the iPad doesn't. Now, this is a perfect example of content being embedded in websites that is very pertinent to the article, something that you're going to want to see, you're going to want to look at if you're reading a news article, that you do not have access to here. There we go. Now, there is a BBC News app that will be able to download on the iPad, but that's a separate thing. If you launch the BBC News app, you are only using the BBC News app, and I don't want to launch an app for every different thing that I want to do all the time. Sometimes I just want to browse the internet, and everything isn't all in one place on the iPad, which is annoying. It's not the end of the world, and generally the browsing experience is still pretty good, but not having Flash there, I've found from the small amount of time that I've been using it, is a pain in the ass. But you can take that as you will. There are alternatives to using Flash. There's apps for almost freaking everything on the iPad, so it's not like you're completely neutered. But I think that seeing this article on the Vega and having a video that I can watch or listen to while I'm reading the article just adds to the content, makes it much richer and makes it a better experience altogether. On the iPad, you would have to launch up the BBC iPlayer app to watch that, or the BBC News app to watch it separately. So we'll try a couple of other things, and see how they differ.